Only the toughest of beards will be tested.
Commence time machine.
Get your shave stick today and enjoy the evolution of your daily routine. And notice the new smoother you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dina and Greg Show.
Hi,
I am Dina Nina Martinez.
and I'm Greg Potter, and it is Sunday night.
It is Sunday night at 7 p.m.
Woo, woo.
You know where we're going to be, right here on the internet. What? Sorry.
I wore my Pride shirt for you. My Pride, I mean, it's not a shirt made for a grown adult male.
It is a shirt made for a grown adult gay.
Yes,
Male.
that I got at Target a few years ago in the girls section.
Yes!
But it's got rainbow popsicles on it.
It does. It's so good. I am very impressed with their upgrade of Pride merchandise that they have.
Yes. And seeing how I really haven't celebrated Pride except for calling in a lot of white cisgender gay men. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride is the last show of Pride Month.
Ta-da! So what have you been up to? What's going on? How was your week?
It was a good week. It was a very long week. I did a couple of trainings for a company here in Madison.
Yes, you brought the trans awareness
I brought
to the house.
I trans-awared them like nobody's business.
Like, look out, watch out, healthcare system.
I was like,
trans awareness.
Yeah, I want to know what trans is.
Please tell me you got really Texas on them. Just like,
So first of y'all, no, I didn't. I don't know. I've been to extra Texas lately, and I think it's because I'm so exhausted. I have pandemic brain. Have you heard of pandemic brain?
did you just make it up?
No.
Oh, well,
I made it up months ago.
I think we're all suffering from pandemic brain.
Yeah. Man, this week has shown spikes, the unlikes, which we've never known. I don't know why I can't sing. Crikes.
But we'll talk about that in a second.
Yes.
What did you do last night?
What did I do last night? I think I'm
gonna back it up before I say it. We tell everyone what we did. So a couple weeks ago, our friend Christine tells us that there is a Garth Brooks concert in Wisconsin at a drive-in, and that we're gonna go. And so I walk in to see her, and both her and Dina are on the wait list to get a ticket. It's a drive-in, so to get a ticket for the car. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's such a great idea. Yeah. And I'm thinking he's going to this drive-in
to perform in Monroe, Wisconsin.
Which is not a big city. It's a very small city, village, town, something. Anyway, and then I realized that we're going to watch him perform live on the screen. So last night, Dina, Christine, and I sat in the bed of her truck in chairs and giggled for 2 hours and also danced a little bit.
I did not dance a little bit. I just was there. I was like, I was not really, I wish. No, that hasn't happened in years. I found it interesting because I didn't really want to go, but I wanted to spend time with you guys. And I came in with a bad attitude and then corrected it after a bit of a kerfuffle.
And I'm sorry, everyone, that we do not have footage of the three of us trying to get up into this truck when it was parked on a hill. And we all kind of, Dina, Christine, and I have had a few drinks in already. And yeah, it was. I didn't have a few drinks in. And it was still a sight to be seen. It was quite hilarious. The thing that was wonderful is spending time with you, both of you, at a thing, because we haven't done a thing since the pandemic started. And for the most part, it was done pretty well. Like people were in their cars or in their little space, and there was it was confusing with the bathroom a little bit, but not really. Only people were not smart.
Yeah, and well, I also don't think a lot of those people cared.
Yeah.
And so I was really nervous, but it was really great. We were in the bed of Christine's truck, and I was really annoyed that when I found out that it was a live video. He performed on a stage somewhere, probably in Nashville or wherever. And so we went to watch it on the screen, and I was really kind of annoyed, but then I realized last night when we got there, it's just like going to a concert when you're in like seats further back. I mean, you watch the screen the whole time anyway. So with my attitude in check, I had a blast.
And then on the drive home, we had a 90s country music sing-along.
We did. It was fun. Brooks and Dunn.
Shania Twain,
Ty
Tim
Herndon.
McGraw.
It was really fun.
Yeah. So I did something else this week.
Oh God, what did you do?
I've updated my Grindr and my Tinder profiles and my Scruff profiles. I was like, I'm gonna find a husband. No one's knocked on the door yet.
No one's knocked on the door. Okay, can I just comment on the picture last night in Monroe that you got from? There was a guy on Tinder or in. Oh my God, it was the
Grindr.
best.
There's got to be someone here.
So Greg gets on Grindr and he's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It is a man shirtless in Wranglers and mud boots, laying on a bull."
Laying backwards, lounging on this bull.
Lounging on cattle. Like, I was like, that's my kind of dating profile pic. I would go out with that guy in a heartbeat if he weren't on Grindr.
Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna see if the new Mr. Potter comes along, and then I'll figure out dating somehow.
And I am essentially a nun. Yes, you're welcome.
Well, dating is possible. My neighbor went on a date. If you're dating out there, please send us a video or something. Send us a
5 to 10 second video saying I'm dating during the pandemic and this is how.
What's going on?
And then you may make it so do it sideways so you can fit into the screen, and I can pop you up, and then we can be like, oh, this is you on screen on the D&G show. Huh? I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
But my neighbor went on a date on Friday, and it was really successful. And they wore masks, and they stayed outside. And I think they're going to go on a second date. So,
what's going to happen on the third date during a pandemic? That's my question.
They're going to get in full-on bodysuits.
Yes, hazmat sex.
If anyone knows how to make a body condom. I think that we just found our new big ticket item.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
What's going on?
I don't know.
All right.
Continue to talk.
Well, do you have anything else from this week? Anything else?
Not much from this week. I've had a pretty low-key week.
Okay.
It was lovely. I'm also working with a writing coach with my book, which has been both inspiring and stressful. Like when you're looking at your past, like the culmination of your past kind of gets in your head. So it's been an up and down, interesting ride.
I love that I have a front seat.
Yay!
Well,
you're
good.
in my book, of course.
Duh.
Oh, right.
Actually, the one time that I got to see you do Wannabe Soccer Mom, Tales from Wannabe Soccer Mom. Confessions of Wannabe. And it was with Christine and I were in the audience. It was the first time that I ever saw it live. I had read it a bunch of times to help go through help you along with it when I could. But when you announced me or Christine, we went ape shit.
You did.
We made a scene, and then Dina's like, please get out.
Well, I didn't because it was a very low audience that night. But also that lasted for 3 hours. And
it was the never-ending story of
it was the never-ending story by Dina Nina Martinez.
But I take fault at why it went so long. Just like why this segment is going so long.
Why is the segment going so long? Oh, we're only 9 minutes in. No, it just was one of those moments where I was telling my stories and I didn't have anyone timing and I didn't think about it because usually that show's about an hour and 15 minutes max. But I didn't have anybody timing and I just started talking and we had the room for the whole night. So 3 hours later, And that was also
Chatty McGee.
that was also the night that somebody was in the audience, press were in the audience reviewing the show, and they were like, even though it lasted 3 hours, I didn't realize it, and it was like the best review ever. And I'm like, holy shit, what?
You had me on the edge of my seat.
Okay.
Speaking of edge of the seat, news this week has been insane.
Oh God.
Right, so Friday night I went, and a good friend of mine, his husband was gone, and we hadn't seen each other since March. And he's like, just come stay with me. We will stay separate in the house, and we'll spend most of the time outside. And it was good. I that was celebrating Pride, because a couple of our friends that you know came and sat outside with us. Anyway, we're sitting outside, and did you know about the Saharan dust storm? Did you know about it? I didn't know about it until then. And apparently now it has hit the U.S.
It's hit the U.S., and given our COVID numbers, may pose a problem, especially in the South. They said Florida is probably going to be really hard hit with respiratory issues, not only due to COVID, allergens, and then on top of it, you have the Saharan dust storm that hit the United States.
And you have all these people fighting with their cities and their towns about not, like, all these towns this last week were putting city ordinances to wearing masks. And that, I mean, I was watching The Daily Show, and he had the one video about the woman saying that God said that masks are inhumane and she needs to breathe. And I'm just like, lady.
I didn't read that anywhere in the Bible.
Right. Show me. When did he tell you that? But
I'm a dumbass, book 1, verse 3.
So we were talking about the Saharan dust storm, and then they said the locusts. Did you?
I didn't hear about the locusts.
So we are in the 7 plagues of the Bible. Plagues.
Seals, the 7 seals.
They're
ripping the seals open, y'all.
In parts of Africa, the east coast of Africa, or East Africa, I believe. I didn't read it totally. There are so many locusts that I believe the number was 80 million locusts. And so they're dealing with COVID. That means they're also dealing with like a drought and no food, and now locusts.
And then the murder hornets were like, I'm not getting enough press, so we're going to go.
We're going to leave. Bye, murder hornets.
It's unbelievable what is happening on our planet right now. And it shouldn't be unbelievable, because we took such good care of our planet.
One of the guys I was chatting with on Grindr today, we were talking about how, like, shocking that we're still getting shocked.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not shocked by a lot of other things that are shocking at any other time in history.
So shocking.
So shocking.
What do you have from the news clips?
So I'm really excited that the Mississippi legislature has decided that they are going to remove the Confederate flag from their state flag.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it went to their House of Representatives, passed, and the governor is expected to sign it into law to remove it and change the flag.
Fantastic.
Even Faith Hill, a proud Mississippian, came out and said, y'all need to change this.
And I didn't write this down, but in Birmingham, Alabama, I also believe it might have happened the week before, but there was a Confederate statue downtown, and the mayor said, I'm going to get it taken care of. Just trust. And he did it. No whims. I think someone from the state government called him out on it, and he's like, nope, bye. My city.
Good.
So good. Change is happening.
And they're talking about changing the name of John Wayne International Airport in Orange County as well, because of some racist comments that he made. So I love that change is afoot. It's also an arm and a leg.
Speaking of change that we need fast in November, Trump now went to Phoenix, which now Phoenix is the highest. We're seeing the highest daily cases of COVID in the country right now. So he's just fancy.
He's just doing it, getting out there on the trail. I mean, I don't either. I also, what was I going to say? Last week I said 140 something thousand people have died. It's 124. My apologies. I don't know
did
where
give a
I got
look,
that number.
but I was like, maybe you saw something that I didn't.
I don't know where I got that number from. I thought I got it. So we're at 124,000 deaths, but we have risen to we're at the highest numbers we have.
Yeah, if you look at the WHO map, and then they have the graphs, the daily counts are higher than they were in April.
And this is the thing. They do not care about us, y'all. So we need to care for each other. Put your mask on, wash your hands, carry some sanitizer with you. Just be safe and be courteous and just care for other people, not just yourself.
Take a hint from Dina. The best threat is I will Lysol the shit out of you.
I will, yes. I will Lysol that down before my mouth goes anywhere near it. All right, moving on.
Wait, what is this? I want to know what this is.
Oh, Lady A. So Lady Antebellum is a country band.
They
changed their name to Lady A, and I love that. I love that country stars are getting in there and being like, "Look, we are sorry. We're gonna pivot, and we're gonna be like, no,
we're gonna pivot."
Yes. Also this week, one of my favorite bands, the Chicks. They took out Dixie. Now they're the Chicks, and I could not be more happy.
Could we also get a new album?
It's on the way.
Great.
I pre-ordered it.
I mean. And what are the conservatives going to do when there isn't an actual CD to jump on?
There's nothing. Nothing.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. They bought CDs and burned them.
Thanks for supporting the Dixie Chicks.
The Chicks. I'm so happy about that. Do you want to go next, or is this the last one? Okay. So in Los Angeles has seen a pretty big spike too. Surprisingly, since they handled it so well at the beginning, everyone's really shocked by the fact that it's spiking. So Governor Newsom, words are hard for me today, closed bars in LA County and 6 other counties around that area, or 6 other counties that had considerable spikes. So West Hollywood is closed down again, everyone.
As someone who enjoys the drink, bars don't need to be open. Especially, I'm a Wisconsinite, and we love our bars. And the bars yeah.
And those are bars I went to every day for a good portion of a decade.
Sometimes
multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes from open to close days.
Dina Martinez, do you want to go get coffee, aka end up at early 2 p.m. happy hour at Fiesta Cantina?
100%.
For 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
Oh, the days.
Oh, the days.
Okay.
So that's what we've got for news. Let's moving into Sochi.
Sochi.
How Sochi?
Sochi. I forgot for a second.
All 5 of the people watching right now are loving this. Thank you very much for your comments.
The big news this week, and I'm going to let you take this because this is a huge movement in the trans world.
Oh my God. So Jerry Jones fronts a campaign for Calvin Klein. She is a plus size.
It is gorgeous.
Transgender model. And it is everything, honey. I just got really queer.
But it deserves that.
Everything. If you haven't seen it, go to my Facebook. It's brilliant. It's gorgeous. She is amazing.
Now I'm hoping though that this just doesn't stop. This doesn't stop because it's not Pride.
Right.
Yes, let's throw it, but there are still so many different dynamics of people that are amazing models that are not fitting the 5'11", 130 pounds white woman.
Exactly. Get it.
Someone, all these other companies take.
I'm a plus size, older trans lady model. I'm white, but I love that. I'm so stoked about that. Do you want me to start for the next one?
Go for it.
All right. So on Twitter today, Eliza Casey XXX. I don't know if she's a porn star, but if she is, yay, go for you.
Get it, girl.
Go get it. So, Olive Garden was trending is the word I was looking for.
Isn't it a restaurant?
Yes. I have no idea why, because I couldn't decipher that in the stream of things.
Salad and
But
soup?
what I did, endless salad and soup. What I did get was Casey posted, as a former Olive Garden employee, it is my personal belief that white people who base their whole personality around liking cheese are the devil.
What? Bye, Christine.
As
No is a bigger cheese.
They're also a vegan. So I was like, hey girl, I know, right? I used to be the devil.
I don't know to start with the serious one or the funny one.
Which one?
They're both kind of serious. Okay, so all those gays who love the Golden Girls out there, and everyone else who's not gay who loves the Golden Girls, I don't know if you noticed today, or could have started yesterday, that someone made the decision to pull the episode of Golden Girls where Dorothy's son dates an older woman. The older woman happens to be black, and there is a scene when they first come over to the house, and Rose and Blanche come out in mud masks because they're exfoliating their face, and it's the comedic relief of, what did these black women just walk into? Not making fun or wearing blackface. Well, someone who I'm guessing is white assumed that people were offended by this and went to take it off. And Twitter is blowing up with the black women being like, we love the Golden Girls, and we know that this is not a thing.
Right.
So stop assuming that this is a thing when it's really not a thing.
Yeah. Talk to the people who it might offend. And if they're not offended, then CTFD, bitches.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
I loved it.
Thanks. Also, there was a NPR posted on Twitter that President Trump retweeted a video of a white man driving a golf cart with Trump 2020 and American fist signs yelling white power in response to protesters. Should not be shocking. Should not be shocking. I'm not shocked by that. Sharing the video, Trump wrote, "Thank you to the great people of the villages." Also, the White House says he did not hear that.
Wait.
He didn't hear him yelling white power.
Are your ears broken?
We do not have a president. We have a dictator. Thank you for listening. That's been my TED Talk.
One thing I'm really excited about is the Stop Hate campaign that is blowing up right now with actual companies, large Fortune 500 companies. The Stop Hate for Profit campaign. It's picking up some momentum. Check it out. I think it's something that we're going to talk more about in the next 2 weeks.
I love it.
I hope it does something, but also I hope it doesn't take away from the narrative that capitalism is a big contributor to racism.
Yes.
So
capitalism.
Sunday night, finding my words with Greg Potter.
I love finding your words.
Oh, Twitter also today you can now voice tweet.
Oh my God! Yay!
Just like that.
I'm so excited.
You could get a tweet from Dina saying that.
Oh my God! Yay! I'm just going to tweet that left and right, you guys.
What you watching?
Oh, what you watching?
What you watching?
What you watching? I am watching. I have a list of things. So let me start with the first one. LOL, which is Last One Laughing Australia, hosted by Rebel Wilson, is on Amazon, and oh yeah, it is so good. So they put this group of comics in this room, and they have to not laugh at each other. They can't laugh. Like it's a comic's nightmare, right? And so they have all these people doing the craziest shit to get the other comics to laugh, right? And these people know each other, and there's something about knowing each other when you're funny that it's harder not to laugh if you're in a room with a bunch of people that you think are hilarious, right? So it is so good. So I would say the 4th episode dropped on the 25th, the next episode, and it's getting really good. So you can watch the first 4 episodes right now on Amazon. Last One Laughing, Rebel Wilson. So good. You're welcome.
it's really an interesting thought or idea too, because us as consumers and watchers, we love those moments where the actresses or actors like break character.
Yes.
Like when Adam Sandler sings it to, and Chris Farley is the lunch lady, and he's cracking up. Or speaking of Golden Girls, the very first episode where they talk about shooting a sardine or a herring out of a cannon, and B. Arthur and Blanche, Rue McClanahan are dying, and Rue McClanahan like reaches over and grabs B. Arthur's arm so hard because they're both dying at this. Anyway,
it's the best thing. It's so good. What are you watching?
I didn't have time this week really to watch, but I've listened to a couple things that I really recommend to our watchers / listeners. And I'm just gonna say them both right now, so you can keep talking about what you're watching.
Okay.
President Trump, my ears do work. So one is sorry, oh my God, my brain just stopped. Priya Parker last year wrote the book The Art of Gathering, and it's a beautiful book about creating space. And so the New York Times asked her to do during COVID to do a podcast called Together Apart, and it is so good. And the later episodes in the season really dive into what is going on now and how we still create space apart, but meaningful and really amazing. The other one that I really recommend is The Happiness Lab with Dr. Laurie Santos from Yale. And the last 2 episodes of season 2 are really worth listening to, about finding ways to be happy with everything going on. So
I love it. I actually love The Happiness Lab. You recommended it to me when I was driving down to Texas for the holidays, and it's a really great podcast. So I highly it gets the DNG stamp of approval.
Hi, Dr. Laurie Santos.
We love you. So I watch a lot of things while I'm doing other things, but I was in the office and I had this program on Netflix up, and I could not get work done because I was so captivated by it. It's called Disclosure, and it's on Netflix. It's produced by Laverne Cox. Thank you. I don't know why that was.
Oh, I heard an interview about her promoting this. Anyway, sorry.
It is a brilliant documentary about trans representation in the media, and when and how people disclose that they're transgender, and how cisgender people react to that disclosure, especially in the media. And it's such a great film. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch Disclosure on Netflix. And then my favorite thing that I did actually watch, I watched it, my eyes were glued to it, was Eurovision Song Contest, the journey, the story of Fire Saga with Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. I don't think anybody realizes what a Eurovision nerd I am.
I think first you might have to tell people what Eurovision is.
Oh my gosh, why does no one know what Eurovision Song Contest is?
Because we're Americans, and the word Euro is in it.
So fair. So the European countries, and including Israel and Australia now, they're all part of the Eurovision Song Contest. They all get a representation, a song to represent them within the contest. So each country has a contest with like the Iceland song contest or the UK song contest. So everyone gets a chance to get their song, right? Every country. And they have one submission to the contest. And then it's called the Eurovision Song Contest. And it's huge. It's amazing. ABBA was one of the winners years ago. Like, it's so good. Some of the best and worst and most amazing musical acts that you have ever seen in your life make it onto that Eurovision stage, right? So good. So Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams play a couple from Iceland, and it's hilarious. You have to watch it. And they get to go to the Eurovision Song Contest. Also, I'm such a geek. There are a bunch of cameos from actual Eurovision Song Contest participants from prior years in it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Bilal Hassani. Oh my God, that's real. Like it was so good.
Oh my god.
It is so good.
Is it a movie or is it?
It is a movie.
Okay, good, because I cannot handle another series right now.
It's a movie. And I like Will Ferrell, but I loved this movie. Like I loved it because I'm such a Eurovision nerd. And I wish everybody knew how, and like that it didn't happen this year. Like they have all the songs, but they didn't have that's the one thing I want to do before I die. Like I'm going to live, and then the day I go to Eurovision Song Contest, as soon as it's done, I'm going to be like, like I'm just gonna.
How was that?
I'm like that. I'm gonna make a fart noise with my mouth.
Then done.
Because that's what I do.
Well, I'm excited to watch that, and I'm even more excited to have our guests. Okay.
Also, Carrie, we love you too.
Oh, before we bring in our guests and introduce them, these are two amazing human beings who really could have their own interviews, but we're going to do them together.
Yes, it's true.
And so whatever comes of this, it might just be us like an overload of love and gushing. And that's what you're going to deal with as a watcher.
So, all right, we're going to add them into the stream now. That did not work the way I want. Hang on. There we go. Nope. There we go. Okay. I'm pretty. Hi. It's Rae Gina Senarighi. Gina Senarighi. I don't know why my mouth has been mush lately.
It's all right.
Hi.
Hi.
We're so excited to have you here.
Just because you can't see me, we are waving at you.
Okay. Hi. Even better.
So Rae is a speaker and a painter, fine art, like shishi art. And then Gina is a relationship coach, and she has incredible eyewear. Period. I got the chance to meet Gina at an event earlier this year before we went into this crazy world that we live in, pandemica. And I just fell in love with her. I was like, oh my God, you're my friend.
I could say the same thing too, because I actually saw you speak at Amy's memorial, and I was like, I need to be friends with that person. And like, I just knew it right then. And then every time I've been like, oh, yay, right. Wait until you meet this person.
And then this is my first time actually meeting Rae face to face.
I've heard about you from Gina and also from several other folks in town, because we're new to town. We only moved here about a year ago. So
that's a cute number.
Oh, you're trans? Oh, here's another trans person.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, but
We
also
have so much in common.
people you to know each other kind of thing. So.
Okay, I'm so excited. So I do want to say that Gina is the host of the Swoon podcast, which is a relationship sexy podcast, which I listen to on occasion and I love it. And then Rae was in a little clip called "The First Time I Saw Me" from Netflix and Glad.
As little as in short, but
That's what
huge as in impactful. Like, oh my gosh, that I've watched when I first saw it, I watched it 4 times in a row. Also, then got really jealous of them and you to get to hang out with these amazing, talented artists. I'm like, oh.
I was really jealous that wasn't included in that group of people, but that's fine.
Disclosure this last week, and I was like, you painted her, you painted him, you painted them, right? And so many of them were part of that. That was the first time I saw Me.
And the disclosure doc was so good because I feel like it expanded on and a full length feature kind of talking about the same things about where are the representations that we're getting, who's writing those, who's playing them, what are the tropes that are coming up that are really not great, and how we make that better. And I just thought it was phenomenal, and of course I'm just really proud of them and excited for that to be out.
It was really good. And then I felt like it tied so well into the short. Sorry, I don't mean to diminish.
I mean, it's 5 minutes long.
Sure.
Now I'm nervous.
It's they were just little interviews, and being on set, and I was there for 2 days, and like listening. I get to listen to an hour of 45 minutes of everybody being interviewed, and then the folks, you know, kind of were able to tie everything together in a 5-minute video clip, you know, like, but really got the storyline that folks were talking about. And then, you know, of course they were like, hey, we want to interview you too. And I was like, okay. But they made it sound great. And they really did like bring the story out, which was great.
They Netflixed it up. It's like they're professional filmmakers.
It's like they do that for a living.
Yeah.
It was their first time, you know.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Yari Jones, and Rae painted her, who just did the Calvin Klein. Is it Calvin Klein? Yeah, series, and she is
Yari's amazing,
complete sweetheart. Like, yeah, total sweetheart. So pretty cool. It is awesome.
Yeah. There's
for sure
strides are being made, and we have so much work to do still. So.
So much work to do still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Gina, your business revolves around relationship coaching, and a little bit more. Tell us a little more about what you do.
I was a couples therapist and a sex therapist for 10 years, and I worked mostly with people who were queer and or kinky and or polyamorous or non-monogamous. And so that was like that was a busy and very creative and very no day is ever boring in my work. It's always fascinating, amazing things happening. And I switched over to being a coach because I don't really get into the like diagnostic mental health stuff. Like, and I think especially for queer and kinky and folks who are living outside of the box, there's like a lot of history of mental health being pathologizing in ways that are really problematic. And so I like to have people come to me and be like, they say, well, I'm into this weird thing. I just had somebody the other day who was like, I'm into this weird thing. I think she had like self-diagnosed, and I got to be like, oh, you have a weird thing. It sounds like you're hot for whatever that is. Like, okay, you know, you do it consensually and you do it safely. I think that's just fine. And then, you know, so then she got to have like a conversation with somebody without judgment for the first time in her whole life. Amazing. And yeah, so I have this podcast where we geek out about sex and intimacy and communication. And my co-host, sometimes I feel like we are like Glinda the Good Witch, and then Alphaba, is that the Witch of the West or whatever? I don't know what her actual name is, and I, with 5 planets in Scorpio, are clearly, I'm not Glinda the Good Witch. But we have a good dynamic, and that's pretty fun. And now what's great is I've only been seeing people online since we moved to Madison, and then since the pandemic happened, everybody is doing all their therapy online. So I was like ahead of the curve, trend-setting, sort of.
Literally ahead of the curve.
Gina, I'm so thankful that you are there, because I mean, as someone who, I believe that I'm a big believer of polyamory, if it works out for the partners involved and they set the rules and it's, you know, consensual and everything. But how does the conversation look with someone who doesn't quite realize that they might be kinky, they might be polyamorous, they might, like, how does that, I would believe you are the most wonderful handholder and caretaker in that process. How does that look?
Well, you know, I think part of it is that I really don't have any judgment and I don't have any agenda. Like, you'll hear from some people who are kind of experts in my field that they think like one thing is normal, or one thing, you know, poly is the enlightened way of the future, or that monogamy is the only way to be a real committed adult in relationship. And I just don't think either route is all, like, you can't say one kind of relationship is best for all people. And since and that's true, I like don't actually believe that. I can really help people get clear about like what's best for them is one part, right? Like, you know, like what's in alignment with your integrity and your values and what you need in relationship and your neuroses, right? Like we all have them. And then I also get to do a lot of sex ed, which is really fun. Like, you know, nobody got good sex ed. So sex ed that looks like your body does cool things, and like it's okay if you like different stuff. And especially based on the way that we're socialized around our gender, we get a lot of messages about like you're only allowed to like this, or you should always do it this way. And that's just not the way bodies and sexuality work. It's so much more complex. And so I get to talk with people about like, I mean, I could geek out about that. I
love it.
Talk about this the whole time. But like there's this arousal continuum, and like erotic template is like this really wide range of looking at like, instead of like, does it turn me on or does it turn me off? Like, how much does it turn me on? Just a teeny bit? Like, I'm just curious, or like I'm ready to climax, or like, does it turn you off a little bit? Or, like there's like a whole spectrum that we all have. And most of us just have never had a space where we could like talk about it or explore it, or been in partnership with somebody who is like so down to, try stuff out. So it's really fun because I get to help people like really widen their perspective. And even, I have a lot of clients who are super vanilla, straight, like they'll come to me and be like, we don't really fit your typical clientele, I don't think. And they like maybe they have lingerie and that's them getting kinky. But they, they even, I think, get to have a bigger like expansion, even if their edges or their like riskiest stuff isn't quite as risky as some other people. They get to still have like expansion in that little kind of the vanilla, whatever. Yeah.
So with COVID, I'm sorry, Dina.
No, all I was gonna say is like this is way out of my comfort zone right now.
And I'm like, yes, let's talk about it.
How much
Where were you on?
Here? I don't know what to say.
But okay, so now
I love it.
With COVID and the pandemic, how have you been? Has it been I hope it would be an exciting journey for partners and also individuals who have had to hunker down at home but explore their sexuality. Have you seen any relationship to that, or any?
Yeah.
Any?
I'm real busy. I'm like real busy in my practice right now. Can barely like keep the wheels on. But I actually was thinking while you guys were talking about dating, there's a really good resource. The city of New York put out their like Department of Health. You can like Google that. Put out a dating guide. And it's cool because it's super sex positive and super like to the point of like, it gives tips for like, if you are a sex worker, here are some things you should consider. Or it mentions rimming. Like, I mean, like it is very specific. What rates of transmission for a perfect.
It mentions what?
She's
what?
Like, rimming.
Oh, that. Yes. Okay, I didn't know what that is. I was like, is there something I don't know about?
We can talk about it offline. I don't know.
Is this a millennial thing? I'm just
we will find that and post that on the Dina and Greg Facebook page.
That's so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's because really for me, I'm a pretty sexual active person, and it's been the longest that I have went without it.
Yeah.
And so I've been.
Yeah,
it's been a journey for me just to be by myself and love myself a little bit more, and not necessarily physically, but more emotionally. So
yeah,
my journey is with my vision board.
Have you had to add some things that are COVID safe to your vision board?
I wear a mask when I'm masturbating to my vision board now, is what I'm saying.
So great. No, but like I've seen it a ton. I mean, because I have a lot of people who are dating. I have a lot of people who were just going to get divorced right before they went into like shutdown living together. I have like people on all ends of the relationship spectrum, like people who've been together forever and are now like cooped up and getting more and more resentful every day. I've got like the whole, you name it. And this has been hard for every kind of relationship in different ways, just because there's so many complications with how we can connect with other people. And who doesn't want to be connected to other people? It's like, it's part of it. Yeah.
So, Rae, I'm curious about how your work is evolving during the pandemic.
Good question. These are great questions. We've never done an interview together, so this is fun to see how you like.
Yeah. So I think the beginning, we were trying to figure out how to juggle kids, and it was like, here, we have two very small children, 10 months and 3.5. And so, it was like, here, take the kids while I go work frantically, and then back and forth and back and forth. And by the end, by the time they're in bed at 7:00, both of us were just like, like dead.
Yeah.
So that was a struggle. Now we finally kind of like wrapped our heads around, we'll probably be doing this for the next year. So we found some ways to make childcare work for us, and we actually have childcare for a few days a week, and it's a miracle. And so I actually get to have a painting day again. I used to do 10 minutes a day in my studio. Sometimes I would turn into, oh, hey, there's me. Sometimes I would turn into longer periods of time, but then I kind of just condensed that into one day a week. I'm in the studio. The rest of the days I'm doing my day job. And so my work has slowed, it just has. And, but my day in the studio is it's like my self-care. It's like my therapy day. The weeks that I was skipping that, it was like, I just was not as happy as a human being. And Gina would be like, you need to go paint. Yeah. So that part is good. It's coming back online. I have a couple of shows that are still on as of now. Most of the stuff that I had, scheduled, all stopped, within 24 hours. It just all dropped off the face of the earth. But I do have an opening coming up at Edgewood College in the middle of August. I think August 18th is when it opens, and it's up through the beginning of October. And a show up in the Lawton Gallery at UW Green Bay for the month of September too. So
we've got a TED Talk coming up
and
in
a
August.
TED Talk. All right, so I got some things coming up.
Fancy.
Things are ramping back up.
His TED Talk is amazing. I've gotten a preview. I will tell you what, it's so good.
It was good, and then she helped me edit it.
We're a team.
Something better.
We're a team. I think that, if you could speak to this, but I think you've gone through the same waves that everybody has, but as an artist specifically working in social justice themes, the waves of intensity of we've all gone through what does it all mean kind of questions, I think, with the pandemic, and then with the Black Lives Matter movement that's been coming more to life, or re-emerging, I think. And then and then so many trans women of color being killed, and that being, there's just been layers of intensity to the kind of work that you're doing. I think, in particular this spring, that I've seen you be I feel like I have to get in there, but I don't know, we all, I think we've all I've felt at times what does it even matter to do anything in the world? And then other days where you're I have to get out there and save the world, right? We all ride that,
finding that balance
roller coaster this spring. Yeah.
So how are you coping? How is
I feel like there's this emotional whiplash that most of us, especially in the queer and trans community, especially if you're Black or brown and trans, there's this the highs have been really high, the lows have been incredibly low. Mm-hmm. And I was describing to somebody who's not a part of this community in any way the other day about oh, well, now it's legal for a doctor to murder me through negligent homicide, but I can't be fired for being trans. So, right. And then the person just kind of started crying because she didn't know what's going on. And that's intense, that's intense for us to hold. I think that, all of the people that I know who are Black and trans are traumatized right now. It's impossible not to be. And so finding ways to have self-care and to take care of themselves is the survival that we're in right now. Yeah. And so, I feel like my job is to, learn and grow as fast as I can, and also just do my part in whatever that can be, and finding out and listening every day and just trying to kind of figure that out as we go. But.
Yeah. We've had to really fight to find ways to unplug from social media and from work and just be with our kids. We've done a ton of gardening as therapy. We do a lot of going for walks, and I say we, but really Rae does a lot of I just need to get out of here and go for a walk kind of stuff too, to and then as a family, as two people with tiny children, we prioritize sleep like above all else right now, because we both like, I mean, you start to lose it a little bit if you don't get good sleep. And so it's been number one for at least 3.5 years now, strong. Since we became parents.
Prioritize sleep.
Yeah.
It's important.
Mm-hmm.
That's, oh my gosh. I know everyone listening is probably gaining so much knowledge from this in both the sex and the coping and all of it. Anything with, you've got the TED Talk coming up, Rae, and you've got Green Bay and Madison. Anything else that you two are just excited with in the restraints of what's happened in the world?
Oh, Gina just published a book with like legit, like big publisher.
Yeah,
I should tell them about that.
What?
Wait, sorry.
Random House Books. She got a book published, and it like just came out. I think you can pre-order it.
You can pre-order it on Amazon, or if Amazon isn't your jam, you can go to the Penguin Random House website, and they give like independent booksellers there. So it's a communication workbook for couples, and they sought me out because I work with less traditional relationships, and they wanted a book that was really inclusive of all different kinds of people in relationships. So it's pretty cool.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
Did you bring up the title?
I did. It's called Annual Relationship Review, a guide to intentional lasting connection in relationships.
That one's mine. The one that I published myself. The one that they're publishing is called Love More, Fight Less.
There it is. Found it.
Yep.
It's called Love More, Fight Less.
It's great though, because everybody wants like therapy's great and all, but like people want to do something. They like want to know like what can I actually do differently in my relationship. And this book is like, I mean, it's a workbook. It's got like, here's a little thing, do this, right? Like,
and I think that's why people come to you as a coach, is that Gina doesn't just sit there and nod and like take forever. She like gives people homework and is like directive. And so I think that your workbook is like that. Yeah.
I mean, I had an intake. I'm also very direct. Like I'm no BS with my people. And so like I had an intake this last week with a couple of people. And these sweet guys were like making decisions about their relationship. And that was just like, they were like, well, will you tell us if we need to break up? And I was like, yes, I will. Yes, I will. You know, but you can take my advice if you want to or not. But yes, I absolutely will give it.
I love when I'm doing consulting or coaching work and it comes out so direct, and you have to almost remind them, like, I'm not your therapist. I'm here to like it's you're paying me to be cutthroat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're paying me to be a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, I do, you know, like the truth is the most compassionate people are the most boundaried and full of accountability, right? Like you can't do, it's not like just compassion is like, la, 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 I love you no matter what. No, it's like, I love you no matter what. And also you're being a jerk over there, right? Like both of those things go together. Otherwise I'm not like being real with you. You know, it's not real love. It's deceitful, I think, if you're not doing both. Anyway, I could go again. We could talk all night.
That's my dream. I wish we could talk all night.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question to the two of you is: how are you celebrating Pride, or how are you finishing up Pride Month?
Oh well, we spent the morning going to the emergency room with our 10-month-old.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she had a little accident with her foot, but. And what I was going to say, this guy's still shook up about that one. She's fine. She's just fine. But I was supposed to perform a wedding in Portland this weekend. And
we're supposed to be seeing all of our people.
Yeah. And this is our like 1 year of living here. And so it was also sort of like a going home. Kind of bummed to be missing that part. And since we're not really going out into the world except for the work that we do, our whole garden is decorated with rainbow pinwheels that are all sparkly, and this like bunting that's got rainbows all over it and stuff. And so our yard is like our own little pride festival.
Pride looks different this year.
It sure does.
Yeah. What about you? What are you two doing for Pride? Have you had some sort of celebration this weekend, or?
Not at all. I just have been hounding white cisgender gay men to like do something more.
I've been wearing my trans pride flag to cry into, and I'm just kidding. I love it. I wore my legalized gay shirt.
Yes.
So, and we're still kind of,
Yeah, you made me think about the other thing that I felt like this month, like the timeliness of the Black Lives Matter movement coming forward during Pride Month, which is, another extension. I don't want to say that it's the same movement, right? But like people of color, especially trans women of color, saying like, we will not be harassed by the police, right? And so like on Pride Month to have another movement like that, I think it's so important for all of us to be supporting that movement.
Seen some great memes about it. Like, we canceled Pride and it's Gay Wrath Month instead. Like,
yes,
we're coming back to our roots.
Yeah,
that's good.
I agree with that. Like, I think it's such a beautiful thing that within the midst of it, there was the ability to be like, hey, yeah, and we are the ones who are killed most often.
Yeah.
You don't hear about us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's beautiful, and it's stressful and amazing and horrible.
Yeah.
So there are my
nice.
my opposite word drill.
The disclosure doc where they were talking about, the more visible we become, the more we become targets. And usually it's not somebody who looks like me. It's my trans sisters who are Black or who are immigrants. And, like, we just have to keep fighting.
And also the more visible y'all become, I mean, I think about the generation that's coming. I read some stat, I don't remember what it is, but the percentage of youth, like high school youth who identify as non-binary right now is like the majority of them. And that's because we're now elders.
Yeah.
And we have like people, but you know what I mean? Like us and then the people before us have like given permission just by like living with integrity, painting your people, having comedy shows, having a podcast, writing the books, like all of that is creating visibility. And that really does matter. It really matters. So
yeah. I object to being called an elder, however.
All right. Well,
I saw your face.
I am. I don't like it.
I'm sitting funny in my stool because my back hurts from gardening. So I'm really feeling the elder tonight.
And I think I got some like gray. I got
this
like
guy
a gray
gets more
streak
gray
right
with
now.
every COVID haircut.
I'm not even going to talk to you about gray right now, because if not for a bang piece, I would look like, yeah. I will say that I find it so refreshing, and Greg and I were talking about this earlier this year, that there are so many depictions of who we are in a space that we've never been, even from 10 years ago. Like when I started transitioning 12 years ago, 13 years ago, like I wanted to be an actor, and I was like, there's no way they're going to book me for anything other than a logo show.
Mm.
And trans visibilities lasted longer than logo. So, I'm looking forward to my turn now. Thank you, Hollywood.
And I'm glad you had us on together, because I will say, like, I think there still isn't that much visibility of like queer couples. I mean, there is more. There are like individual celebrities, and then they have a partner. I guess there's Ellen and Portia. I don't feel like I don't have much in common.
What do you mean?
Our lives are a little different. But like, so I just like whenever we can do stuff together, because I don't know. I don't have a whole ton of queer relationships that I can look to even now, even after being out a really long time and us being together a long time, who can say like, well, this is how we manage childcare through the pandemic, or like we also have a mortgage and we're super normal and also trying to do all the, you know what I mean? Like, I just think I appreciate that too on behalf of somebody who's trying to teach people how to do queer relationships every day as a professional. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad that you were both available to do it. And it was a wonderful chance to get to meet you, Rae, and to connect with you, Gina, again.
I cannot wait to meet the two of you in person, and I'm a hugger, so watch out when that happens. Okay? Like, just get ready.
Okay. And for now, we'll have our PPE.
Yeah.
Gina did post, what are you going to do after we can get close to each other? And I was like, hug you so hard. Well, you can follow Gina at Love Gina Sena. Hey, Gina, is that right? Love Gina Sena?
Yeah, my website's heygina.com. They can find it all there.
I got a little confused. And then Rae at Trans Painter on Facebook and Instagram. And that's also the website, and Rae Senarighi as well on your website.
Thank you for doing so much in this world and providing us with your art and your love and your craft. So,
and I, for one, am glad you landed in Madison.
I know.
Me too.
I'm really excited. I'm
also glad I landed in Madison. Some days.
We all ended up here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And bye. Awesome. I love them.
I love them so much. Oh my gosh.
So much. I'm sweating now.
It's warm in our studio.
It is warm.
Well, that's time.
Do we have, we didn't have anything. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are brought to you by Verdure CBD, where if you go to verdurecbd.com, you can get 10% off by putting 10% buyer. Well, I have us both on anyway.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what's happening.
Stop producing. And you can go to the website there, 25% off your shave stick, and 10% off site-wide with 10% buyer code. Anything you got coming up, Greg? No.
On the July.
On the 9th, you can join us for Extra AF online as well. And we're over here now, aren't we?
And on the 5th, we have, who's coming next week?
Oh, Kareth Foster next week. And then the following week, Sean Polofsky
is coming back to
I'm
the
so
show.
excited for them both. Yay. Thank you all. Follow us on all the things. Hit that smash that like button and subscribe on the bell. And we will see you next week.